What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Carnage issue number 11. There is change in the air. Rejected by the only host it has ever known, Cletus Kasady, the Carnage symbiote has spent weeks consuming the abilities of superpowered individuals and making itself stronger for purposes unknown. Meanwhile, left to his own devices, Cletus Kasady has been changing as well. His soul inhabiting an otherworldly symbiote dragon. It infused itself with the highly advanced extremis virus. And now Cletus is more powerful than ever before. Without each other, both halves of this being called Carnage have found new companions. But in an unsuspected twist of fate, their wards have traded places, with NYPD detective John Shade coming face to face with the Carnage symbiote on a distant world, and serial killer Kenneth coming face to face with his idol, Cletus Kasady, on Earth. Now, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so we are picking up with Cletus Kasady and Kenneth. Kenneth just recently teleported here. Kenneth feels as if he is in the room with royalty. As he makes his introductions, he gets down to his knees, calling him Mr. Kasady. He tells him that he's an artist, that he has transformed 33 people, and of course Cletus Kasady kind of brushes them off, saying that you killing people isn't really that big of a deal. That doesn't make us family, it doesn't make us kin. When Kenneth goes out to reach for him, his hand passes right through Cletus. He's not sure what's going on, but we are quickly transported to some kind of murder scene. A truck stop in Iowa. Cletus had passed through this place a couple years ago. He got bored waiting around for his pancakes, and so he transformed 39 people just that day. Of course, Kenneth wants to know how this is possible. How is he able to do this, to bring us to this place and show me all of this? Kenneth says that this is all inside the orphanage. Inside this place, he can do anything. And usually, Kasady doesn't have a problem with guests. Sometimes he even plays little fun games with them. But Kenneth is very presumptuous. He came in here saying, "I'm like you." The truth is, Kenneth has no idea what Kasady has become. As Cletus gets ready to just tear him apart, this is where he lets it be known that Carnage is out there becoming a god. That Carnage must be stopped. That's where we pick up with Detective Shade and Carnage. The two of them now bonded together, but John Shade wants nothing to do with this. He tries to get away. He tries to be a good man. He has tried for his whole life to do the right thing. But Carnage lets him know that all of your protests are pointless. That this was always inevitable. That you're not a good man. You are a curious man. That is why you followed Carnage across entire realms to try and catch us. But at this point, there is no turning back. Not after everything he has done. But Carnage is far from done. He has much more to do. They are headed off to their next target. Having a new spear, having a new armor. He hungers for more power. And while he says there is calculation behind this carnage, all the slaughter, all the gifts that he has consumed have been directed at one radiant and noble goal. But to achieve it, he is going to need to leave this dwarven hellhole, and he is going to have to find more exotic shores. As he goes searching around the memories of John Shade, Carnage finds it very curious the places that he has been, and now they are about to go revisit some of them. As we pick back up with Kenneth and Kasady, the two of them sitting in a diner still in the world that he has created, that Kasady has created. He's giving Kenneth the opportunity to explain exactly what is happening. As Kenneth goes on to explain everything that is happening, we see that Kasady, he really doesn't care that much. But what he does do is stab Kenneth with a fork. Tasting his blood, this gives him the opportunity to head to the fur factory. This takes us back to one of Kenneth's memories. One from months ago where he had butchered somebody alive. As Kasady observes all the work that this guy has been doing, he lets him know that this is not Carnage. All of this is precision. This is all control. That if you look at yourself doing all of this, there is no joy in your eyes. And so as Kasady sits here and just laughs at Kenneth, making fun of him, cracking jokes, Kenneth finally gets tired of it. He picks up a scalpel and he cuts the throat of Kasady, asking why he couldn't just stop laughing. But this is where he goes to run away. He runs outside, he gets out the gate, but when he turns around, he sees that he has gone nowhere. That Kasady is just playing yet another trick with him. And Kenneth has to ask that what are you now? If you are not Carnage, then what? That's when Kasady truly breaks down what happened to him. His human body had died a long time ago. He had been brought back via the Codex. Carnage was his ride for a little bit of time, bonding with the physical host by letting him retain control. Not a perfect arrangement, but he made it work. And then there was Iron Man, who had tried to vaporize him. With a symbiote dragon bonded to one of his stupid metal suits, he had separated it from the mind with their extremist serum, so he thought it was his to command. But he says the same thing that he told him. He is the Alpha. With a symbiote dragon and extremists in the mix, he was more powerful than ever. Carnage wanted to evolve beyond itself, become something even greater. He knew it was a hunger that he could never satisfy. But with a tame symbiote dragon, the biggest, bloodthirstiest symbiote there is, under his absolute control, that his hunger could be satisfied. He has seen every atrocity in this universe, and none of them match the pictures in his head. So he came back to what he knows, to make them real. And so he doesn't need Carnage any longer. He gets to be a god out there, while Kasady gets to be a god in here. And this is where Kenneth goes over the line, saying that it must have been hard finally being the bystander. All of those years, he's been playing to an audience of one, something closer than a symbiote or even a twin brother. There was no distinction between him and Carnage. They were one and the same. He says, with Carnage gone, what are you? And Cletus says that he is Cletus Kasady. The only problem, everyone has forgotten what that means. They've forgotten the knives behind the teeth. That's when Cletus says that he might be right. He can see now why Carnage had kept him around. This is where we see him transforming into his symbiote, telling Kenneth that they are going to give the people what they want. They are going to give them the Cletus Kasady show. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This one didn't really focus on Carnage himself too much. Now we see that him and John Shade, the detective, they are finally fused together. They are one, and now they are headed somewhere that we are unaware of. But this is somewhere inside the mind of John Shade. So wherever it is, it means that he has been there before. What kind of Carnage they are going to bring is still very much up for debate. Obviously, the big part of this story is Cletus Kasady. We've known that he has been back for a while. There have been multiple Carnages, multiple Cletuses out there. If you've been following the Deadpool comic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But we could say that this is the soul of Cletus Kasady. He is nothing more than a codex, nothing more than a spirit. But being attached to this symbiote dragon has made him one of the most powerful symbiotes out there. And while he could be out there doing what Carnage is doing, he wanted to stay in the orphanage, come back to a place he knows and be a god there. But Kenneth has woke him up. He has let him know that your name, it does not ring through the halls. When people think of Carnage, they do not think Cletus Kasady. They think Carnage the symbiote, the one out there that is making himself a god right this second. And so Kenneth has convinced him. He has persuaded him that it is time to go out and show the world that Cletus is still alive, that Cletus still exists, and he can still do Carnage. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything that has been going on with Carnage, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to getting comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.